into the religious training of its students. Harold Katz coaches the school's only athletic team.
Tamir! Tamir! I got one basketball player and 11 rabbis. And by that, I mean that we've got a guy with a future in basketball. And the other guys have a future in whatever, law.
But I don't think so.
In the strictly devout Orthodox community, there are those who are wary of Tamir's success, who fear a generation of kids will want to forsake prayer for jump shots. Tamir's mother has no such fears.
As long as he's a good Jew and he goes by the Jewish law, I mean, college, professional, whatever it is, as long as he stays religious, any basketball is good.
We may get a fundamental kid here and there, but the odds on getting a guy with his package is so rare, I don't see that happening for quite a long time.
So the rabbis have nothing to fear?
No way. The rabbis said, don't worry, they'll be in the classroom.
Still, for the most part, the Orthodox community is swelling with pride. At Toad Pizza, a local hangout, owners Mark and Ronnie Rosenbluth sell slices and talk Tamir.
Wherever you go, people calling, asking where you can see the kid play. As soon as they see our yarmulkes on our heads, they just assume that we know him, and we do.
Every inner city has a place where young players come to prove they've got game. In Baltimore, that place is here, the Dome. Tamir Goodman came here last summer. When he stepped on the court, he was a curiosity. But by the time he left, he had earned the Dome's greatest honor, respect.
We walk in there and, you know, I start stretching a little bit, and it was like that scene on White Man Can't Jump when I was stretching, and they're like, oh, what's up with Howdy Doody over there? What's he doing down here, you know?
Everybody's kind of like, he can't play. And then after a while, I was like, yo, man, what school you at?
The respect Tamir earned for his game, he now hopes to win for his faith.
The bottom line is I'm a basketball player, and that's what people should be looking at, not like some freak show, but a basketball player that realizes his priorities.
Now, how difficult will it be for Maryland to build its schedule around Goodman? Well, this season the Terps have 5 games on their schedule that fall on the Jewish Sabbath, not including possible conflicts in the ACC and NCAA tournaments. The bad news for Maryland, the ACC semifinals traditionally played on Saturday afternoons. But there's some good news. The NCAA has made an effort in its tournament to avoid religious conflicts for teams like BYU. Still to come here on SportsCenter, Shanahan, Elway, Reed.
המשחק הביתי, וברגע שמכבי תל אביב נכנסת חזק למשחק הראשון, גם במשחק השני, היא נותנת לך בראש.
Of me, even though no other Orthodox Jewish boys would hang out where I would hang out, you know, but I started going to the park at a very young age, and even though I was like the only Jewish kid,
tell us how young, how old was you when you first touched the ball and you knew that, you know what? Yeah, I love this game.
Yeah, I was like 8 or 9 years old. I fell in love with the game, and I started just riding my bike to the park. And, you know, they didn't even let me play because I was just a young kid. But I just decided I'd work on my handles on the sideline, like in the summertime for like 10 hours, really, until the nighttime. And then it would start to get dark, and they wouldn't have 10 players that would play anymore, so they would just let me play. So I would be on the sideline all day for all those hours just for those couple minutes to play 5-on-5 with the older guys before everybody went home at dark. And that meant everything in the world to me. And, you know, looking back, just the fact that everybody embraced me and treated me like family from day one, even though I was there with my kippah on and I was the only Jewish person there, it was all love and respect, and I'm forever grateful for that. And that's kind of how my journey started out.
Now let's because I know you did a few interviews. However, this will be a little different.
Yeah.
This is just a little different, you know. All right, what was the players that you said? It could have been Michael Jordan, it could have anybody. Who was the players that you said, I'm trying to let me take some moves from their game? It could be NBA, college players. Who you kind of looked up to as far as playing basketball?
Yeah, so first, on a global level, it was Michael Jordan, you know, because I try to tell the younger players today, we couldn't watch the replays whenever we wanted to watch it. Like, they could watch it as many times as they want to watch it. Like, I would watch the first half of the game, memorize everything he did, and then at halftime, I'd go downstairs, I'd make a little prayer for him that he played good in the second half, and I would work on all the moves that I remember from the first half in my brain, in my mind, and then I go back out for the second half, watch that, and then go back out and practice them again, because we didn't have the luxury of, you know, watching it whenever you want. We had to like put it in our mind and live with it in our heart, and go work on those moves. So that was like globally, but then locally, you know, my coach coached our local high school, Tamir Academy. My brother played on that team, so he was my hero. All those guys were my heroes. And then,
I didn't even know you had a brother. Speak on that team. Speak on that team anyway. And when you start getting all that attention, how was the atmosphere at the school and on your team? If you could elaborate on it.
Yeah, so around 1992, 1991, when I was 9 and 10 years old, my older brother Reuven played for Tamir. And you know, when you go to a Jewish school, you have a dual curriculum. You have double school of everybody else. So like the first morning, like say till like 12 or 1, you only have Hebrew. Everything's in Hebrew. Talmud, Bible, it's all Hebrew. And then from 2 o'clock until like 6 o'clock, you have English, math, social studies, just like everybody else. You have double curriculum. So my brother basically had to be in school from 7:30 until 6:30. I was in elementary, so I only had to really be there, let's say, from like 9 to 3:30. But I didn't go with my classmates. I go with my brother. So I go at 7:30. I had 2 hours in the gym right there before class. And then when everyone else went home, I stayed in the gym until 6:30 practicing. Then when he had practice, I stay and watch. That's how I met Coach Katz. And he started training me on the sideline. Go dribble with your left hand 1,000 times while he was running practice. So I fell in love with that team. And then that summer, I signed up for Goucher College basketball camp. So I fell in love with those guys on that team and the coaching staff. And then this was the summer when, I don't know if you remember, they had the quick release tires came out when we were younger. Like you had a bike, you could take off the tire. I don't know if you remember that. You could take off the tire and put it back on whenever you want. It was like a new novelty.
It was like a switch thing on it was like you lift the thing up. I know what you're talking about. It was an easy way to change your tire. Like,
right. So my parents got me one of those bikes that same summer, and I was so excited. I had that bike. I took the tire off, but I didn't put it back on right. They just came out with it, and I'm coming down the street, and I do a wheelie, and my front wheel comes off. I'm in the air. The front wheel comes off. And I flip over the bike. I'm in the hospital. I have stitches. I have stitches in my mouth. Everything, right? I finally wake up. I look down, and I see that my Jordans have blood on them.
Oh man!
They had blood on them. So I was crying. I told my parents, man, the only thing I'm upset about is my Jordans have blood all over them. Will you get me a new pair? They're like, man, we're just happy you're alive. So I finally got released from the hospital, and I come home. Just so you know how much I love the game, I still have stitches all over my face. You can see a picture of it on Instagram. In my mouth, everywhere. You couldn't recognize me. They thought a car ran me over. I didn't even know what happened to me. But I'm outside jump roping with all the blood in my face and everything like that. And my mother comes out. She starts screaming, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're full of blood." And I said, "Look, you signed me up for Towson basketball camp. And I'm going to be in shape when I get to Towson camp." And I think that was one of the moments where my mother realized, like, how much I really love the game, that it meant so much to me. So that's a little bit of background about how much I love the game at a young age. But then going into middle school, I had a really big dilemma.
What was the dilemma?
I played varsity in 7th and 8th. I played varsity in 7th grade, 7th and 8th grade. But then everyone was like, look, as a Jewish kid, you can't play on the Sabbath from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. You're not going to be able to play in college. You're not going to be able to play professionally. So the teacher's like, you're wasting your time. You're never going to be able to pursue this. So stop playing. Stop playing basketball and just focus on studies.
At that time when you was hitting that, because you taking your studies, so but you like, Lola, I'm taking basketball even. That's serious also, but when you have the adults maybe saying, like, I don't want to say kind of destroying your dream, but it's like letting you know, like, you should just get this one sport up that you love, or this one, get this thing up that you love so much. How did you feel mentally? Like, man, should I listen to them because these adults and things of that nature talking to me? I know how I feel about my faith, but I really do want to play basketball. Give the people the mindset of the two, of the extremes at that time, if you can.
Yeah, so that was the exact dilemma, and a lot of people don't know this. I listened to them, and I stopped playing ball. and I transferred. In 9th grade, I went to an all-Jewish school with no basketball team in Pennsylvania, where there was no team. And I figured, like, I'm just going to listen and just do studies and give up basketball and listen to what everyone's telling me. So on the first day of school at this rigorous academic Jewish school, the rabbi starts off and he's like, the first class, he's like, wow, everybody in this world, every single human is has a divine spark in them, has a piece of God within them. And God entrusted them with a unique mission, and everyone does it through their own unique way and talents and blessings. Right. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. I need to do this, but I need to do this through basketball. So the school in Maryland wasn't really saying that to me, but I went to Pennsylvania and they said that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to finish out the year here, but I know I'm going to play, but I'm going to play for a higher purpose. And that's when I came back to Baltimore in 10th grade. So for Talmud, and I played for the same coach who coached my brother back in 91, 92.
All right, man, this determination. So kids, pay attention, and listen to the focus that he had even back then. All right, now you back. It's 10th grade year. You back in the city now. You know now. Hold up, before you, Mr. Fats, your father, Earl.
Oh, Coach Katz, yeah, my coach.
Coach Katz. Now tell the people a little bit about Coach Katz, because Coach Katz was there with you every time he seen you seen Coach Katz. You know what I'm saying? And tell the people about the relationship y'all two had at that time.
Yeah, well, Coach Katz, let me just say this: it was a very big blessing for me that I had Coach Katz and that he was from Baltimore, because he was actually an assistant at UMBC, okay? And he would sit on the bench at UMBC with his kippah on. And I was like, wow, there's a Jewish coach coaching on Division I staff, you know? Like, to me, that was like, wow, this could be possible, you know? This was great for me. And he told my mom when I was 9 years old, he told my mom, look, you're not going to have to pay for college for him. He's going to get a Division I scholarship. I was 9 years old. And my mother didn't know. She just still doesn't know anything about basketball. She didn't even know what he was saying. But he was right. And I'm blessed that I had that role model from this age. And he was very happy to hear that I was talking with you today. So I still talk to him all the time. And I say I'm lucky for a lot of reasons that I grew up in Baltimore. One of them was Coach Katz, because I can't think of another Jewish coach that was doing that anywhere else in America. You know, so I'm blessed for that.
A little side story, a little side note. I remember after we played each other, I think you played with Oliver for a game or something. I don't know, did you play with Bucky? Was it Bucky Lee? Or was it?
Could be, or maybe Towson Catholic or the Dome.
We played each other. No, because we only did, I want to say you played with Oliver for a game, or maybe two. Because I played with Cecil. We had Keith Jennifer and all. And this is one of them games where we usually we guard AAU, but we home for a couple of days before we go out. So we playing. I want to say Oliver. Yeah, I'm going to say Oliver. I'm gonna stand on that. So you and Mr. Katz come in. So the first thing they say, "Oh, Tamir playing today. Tamir playing today." Now, in the city, you know, we go after each other. This, that, and the third. Did you sense that, far as guards wise, like, you know what? I want to come down here and play, but I understand that everybody gonna try to go at me on the strength because they keep hearing my name and this, that, and the third. I mean, you held your own that game too. It wasn't like, matter of fact, I want to say y'all. I want to say y'all won. I want to say y'all won, but I really don't want to say y'all won. But I think y'all won. So I'm just going. And it was a solid game, but however, the stories that Tamir, I want to play against Tamir. I can't wait to play against Tamir. How you gonna play against him? He's not even out conference. But then you came down there and played, and you held your own. So can you tell the people how you felt sometimes? You coming in the gym, some of the disrespect, even some of the disrespect, and some of the positive and the negative. Sometimes having all that attention in a city like Baltimore.
Yeah, well, I could say locally, my guys, you mentioned Keith, Jennifer, and stuff like that. Like, the guys from Baltimore were more than brothers for me. Never had any issues locally. I can remember Keith Jennifer coming to support me a couple times. One time, you know, just coming to watch me play, and we played Mount St. Joe's, and just seeing him that he came to watch me play, it felt so good to me. But I want to say, like, when it really felt special to me was like one time we were, I don't even know if you remember this. We went to an invitational camp. I think it was in New Jersey, and I was running out of kosher food. So Coach Katz was like, hey, let's go see if I can get any kosher food at a local gas station. And there were some of the Baltimore boys were there. Keith was there, and I think it might have been Melvin Scott. It was like 3 or 4 guys from Baltimore. So Coach was like, hey, you guys want to come? We'll get some snacks. So they came with me. And we went into the gas station there. It was somewhere in New Jersey, and somebody was like making fun of me for being Jewish. Just a regular person at the gas station saying anti-Semitic things.
Right. And
all the Baltimore boys stepped in within a second, right in front of me. And they said, don't say anything to our Jewish friend, man. Don't even try it. Yeah. And, you know, I have chills just remembering these moments, because that was, you know, that kind of sums it up. Yeah, there's always people that are going to be negative, but the guys from Baltimore always had my back. I always going to be thankful to them for that. And that was nothing.
It's a fraternity here. It's a fraternity here. Even though you all in Israel, you still a part of the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Like you laced them up. But you know what? We gonna get there, because now we back. I said we back in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Now you playing. First of all, did you have any rivals in your league? Was there any other Jewish player that was good that we just don't know about or hear about?
It wasn't such a rivalry. It was more like a novelty. It was a novelty because Coach Katz was the novelty. And there was never like a Jewish basketball program that he ran it the way it was. No one, I can't explain it, but like in Judaism, it was kind of like academics is everything, you know, there's no opportunities in sports for you guys, you know, and you're studying from 7:30 to 6:30. There's no way you're going to be able to focus on basketball. Coach Katz comes in and is like, look, 6:30 school's over. We're going to eat dinner as a team. We're going to do mandatory study hall. You're going to bang out your homework. And then we're all going into the gym. And we're going to practice so hard, like you don't even know what. And he turned every negative into a positive. He started off like this. He's like, you don't need to be here. Anybody, you don't want to be in this basketball program on the first day. He's like, just get out. He's like, but I promise you, if you do what's asked of you here in this gym and in the classroom, you're going to have the greatest ride of your life. And everybody bought in. And we knew we were the only people that started practice at 8:30, ending at 10:30. Our gym was like just nasty. It was a multi-purpose room. So like we'd walk into the gym, there's like salad on the floor, chicken on the floor, food all over the place, because it was used for everything. Basketball wasn't the main thing, but we cherished it. And we cleaned it up. And we bought the rims. You know, we painted the three-point line. You know, we cleaned it every day. We were the janitors. So we fell in love with that little gym, and we fell in love with the program. And so it wasn't a rival. It was a novelty of like, can we do what coach is trying to get us to do, which no other Jewish basketball team in high school has ever done.
Now, let's talk about the basketball part a little bit. You averaged 35 your junior year. Did y'all hear me, people? He averaged 35 his junior year. I look at it like this. I don't give a competition there. Because if you could drop 50 and 40, that's 50 and 40. I don't care how you put it, that's 50 and 40. I never, the closest I got to a 40 piece was in Leaf Walk House League. That's playing against my friends from around my neighborhood. So me saying 40 and 50, listen, people, don't just brush that off like it's nothing, man. I like to say this to you, because you showed your jump shot, you showed that you was aggressive, and you went for it. You went for it in high school, you know. So, like, talk to us a little bit about some of the zones if you can recall some of the zones you may was in come your junior year. Because people, when I tell you it was lights, camera, action, his junior year, man, I tell you, man, I tell you, it was something. You had to be there to see it, but Go ahead and elaborate, Tamir. Talk
Yeah,
about
I appreciate it, especially coming from you. But in short, Coach, we practice against Division I every night, basically. No one knew this, but because Coach used to coach at UMBC, so he would bring the guys who just graduated or whatever into practice with us. So everyone thought we were a small Jewish school, but we were playing against Division I in practice, okay? Or pros. A lot of guys that just finished playing. He had good relationships. He would bring everybody to the gym. And no one knew it, but we had amazing practices. But here's the thing. He taught us how to read the game. We never had one play. There's no sets. Coach Katz doesn't believe in any sets. So it's very hard to scout us because we're just reading the defense, you know? Back screen, down screen, curl cut, fake. You don't know what. We're just screening and moving and screening and moving, and nothing repeats itself. It's just like art because we learned how to play the right way. We learned how to read the defense, and we were never boxed in. In other words, we were, hey, 5, like a robot. He's going to come. You're going to come. You got to wait for him. You could scout all that. Right. And because we learned how to play, we felt comfortable. It didn't matter what man-to-man, we knew what we were doing. Zone, boxing, whatever he threw at us, we knew exactly what we were doing because we were just reading. We were reading the defense, reading and reacting, read and react. And, you know, that gave us a really good advantage. And then going into 11th grade, that was a knock. Well, he's not playing against anybody. So Coach purposely got us games against Mount St. Joe's. And I think I had 24 against Mount St. Joe in the second half at Mount St. Joe. And he started scheduling us against the bigger teams. And then finally, that's when the Division I offers started coming in and things like that.
And now let's talk about it. Let's unpack that a little bit. Was Maryland the only a high Division I school, or was it any other local schools around here that was recruiting you at the time?
Yeah, so originally I was just getting like mid-major, and then Maryland called up. You know, at the time, first of all, I grew up love Maryland. They were my favorite team growing up. And then they said, you know, we're coming to Thanksgiving holiday tournament in Howard, in like Columbia, Maryland, that area. And that was against a really good team. And I played really well that night. Coach Billy Hahn, he comes over to me. He's like, we're going to offer you a scholarship. He's like, and I'm coming back to watch you play tomorrow. It was a tournament.
Okay.
Because we advanced. He's like, I don't even need to watch you play. I just enjoy watching you play. I just want to come see you play again. And then after he came back the next day, we met with the coaching staff, and I just look at Coach Katz. I'm like, why would I want to go anywhere else? I love Baltimore. I love Maryland. My family's here, and it's my favorite team. Let's commit. And I committed right away. So that's when everything just went crazy. I had 700 media requests that week.
Man, listen, people. SportsCenter had dubbed Tamir the Jewish Jordan at this time. When I mean, it looked like you was a rock star traveling around. I mean, it was, you had crowds everywhere you go. It was chants and stuff like that. Tell the people how did that feel, good and bad. Tell us the positive and the negative with that.
Yeah, it was a tremendous amount of pressure. I recently saw one of the most leading PR firms, guy that runs like a PR agency in America, and he said, till today, there's only been a handful of players in the history of American basketball that have had as much recognition that I had. He said Allen Iverson, LeBron James, and he's like maybe Will Chamberlain, you know, and that's how crazy it was. You know, they had a list of the most influential Jews in America in the newspaper. I was the head of the White House press secretary when I was 17 years old. You know.
That's crazy.
So it's hard. It's hard for people to even imagine. Like Seinfeld, I'm meeting Magic. I'm meeting like everybody. It was just.
I seen you met Shaq, Big Shaq.
Like Magic and just.
Was it Ray Allen?
Ray Allen, man, it was just.
I'm gonna post some of your videos that you'll be able to see to some of the people that he got a video that he posts. You'll be able to see some of the guys that he done met. You're gonna be shocked yourself. Some of y'all will be shocked. Now let's go ahead. You decided to withdraw from Maryland. Now before I go there, let me stop. Do you think a little bit that Maryland wanted to get you because you were so hot at the time that you was different, that you was Jewish? Did you ever think like that? Like, man, why all of a sudden did you just offer me? Like, did you think they had a you?
There's two things. There's two crazy things happening a little bit after all the media went crazy. Okay, people don't know. People don't really know. Number one is the Jewish school that I went to. They asked me to leave. Well, they said, look, we're stopping the basketball team. You could stay, but we can't accommodate the basketball team for your senior year because the media was such a distraction. Our gym could only fit like 100 people in it, 200. There was like, I don't know, 2,000 to 3,000 people outside trying to come into the gym. It was a fire hazard. Like they just couldn't handle it. They just couldn't handle it. Like we had to start playing at Loyola, American University. Like we had to start renting out gyms for thousands of people, and the school just couldn't. Yeah. It just wasn't right. It's just not where the school was heading. So I had to first of all find a school. I transferred to a Christian school, but they were Seventh-day Adventists. They don't play ball on the Sabbath either, on Saturday. So that was a big transition going there. I was the only Jewish kid in the whole school, you know, transferring there, which ended up being a very big blessing for me in a lot of ways. And at the same time, I'm already invited to play at Maryland. I'm playing there, and in the summer, I'm there every night. I'm playing with Juan and Steve Blake and all those guys every night. And then coach calls me into the office, and he's like, look, it's almost time for you to play. Or he basically said, you have a scholarship. You can stay and play. But based on how we see things moving forward and how we project you, like if you stay and play, you're going to have to play on Saturday. And just within 1 second later, I said, Coach, I love you. I love this program. I'm always going to be a Maryland fan, but I can't play on a Sabbath. I just can't. That's my religion. Right. And I gave him back the scholarship. Absolutely no hard feelings. I still love some of the guys on that team and some of the coaches I'm still in touch with all the time till today. I just walked down with my mom. We stood in the Big M at Coalfield House. The place was empty. I just said, I'm never going to play here. We walked out, no hard feelings. The media made a much bigger deal of it than it was.
Yeah, yeah. Now you and then, y'all see Towson. Was Towson the first school, or was it any other schools?
There was other schools, but here's the thing. Towson, they sent me a recruiting letter, okay, in Hebrew letters. I don't know how they got it till today. They wrote it to me in Hebrew. And when I got that letter in the mail that somehow they found someone in Baltimore that could write Hebrew and sent it to me, I was like, wow, they're committed.
That meant everything to you. I know it did. I know it meant everything to you.
That meant everything to me. And then Coach came over to the house with Coach Allen, the assistant coach, and they went over the calendar, and I just saw how serious they were. I knew that was the right place, and thank God, I'm very glad that it was.
Look, it's funny to me. I almost was about to be on your team. They recruited me. This when I went to junior college. And
wow.
I was about to leave junior college. So I told them I'd do a walkthrough. I said I come up and do an unofficial visit walkthrough in the summer. So me and my grandfather went up there, and we talked to the coach and stuff. But I wasn't ready to come home at that time. I wasn't ready to come home to Baltimore. So I ain't attend Towson State. I chose Georgia State instead. However, tell us about this experience up Towson State that you had.
Yeah, Towson was amazing. My teammates and staff there will forever be in my heart because they managed to change the schedule for me. So you remember going back, they said at the beginning of all this was going to be impossible as a Jewish person. And here I am living out my dream. Here I am living out my dream when this was supposed to be impossible. So I'm forever grateful to that.
Man. Tell the difference in the game speed. Did you have any problems with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a big adjustment for a freshman coming in. No matter how prepared you are, and I hope there's young players listening, no matter how no matter how hungry you are, no matter how hard you train, no matter how much you got ready for it, you get to college basketball, there's going to be a transition. But hopefully you land in a place like I landed my freshman year at Towson, where the older guys and the coaching staff take you under their wing, and then you're able to accomplish some amazing things, and you can play at a level that you never even thought was possible. And I would also stress the conditioning. The conditioning aspect of it is something that it's very hard for a high school player to even imagine. Yeah. That would be a big focus.
Yeah.
I remember like one of our first workouts at Towson, we had to do 8 suicides on a football field. outside on the football field.
Yeah.
And coach on every line. A high school player, I don't know if they could even envision that, you know?
Yeah, but they do it to break you, to break some players. So if you are mentally tough for that, you'll be fine. Now,
exactly.
Now, before we go into your pro ball, can you tell the people where they can find you at, your information? Can you elaborate on a book that you and your wife had done together?
Yeah, you could go to TamirGoodman.com, and there's my book, my product, Zone 190, and all my camps, clinics, consulting, everything's up at TamirGoodman.com. And any young players that are out there, if I could ever help you, please feel free to always reach out to me.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, and another thing before we go over there, because I like to talk to the kids that's in high school and transition to college or whatever. And I know sometimes when I was that age, you have a lot of thoughts running through your head because you want to make sure you want to be good on the court. You want to pass. You want to be good in the classroom. You want to be accepted by your peers. There's a lot of mental pressure that you really don't got to worry about, but sometimes as humans, we put ourselves through it. And I'm trying to let them know that you ain't by yourself. You ain't the first person that had that thought. You ain't the first person that cried about basketball, that you thought you was going to play this much and you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Once you put this blood, sweat, and tears when you play this game for so long. And I understand you had some knee injuries, right, when you played pro ball. And matter of fact, let's just get into it. Your first, tell the people where you played pro ball at, and yeah, just elaborate on your career.
Yeah, so Coach Blatt, I don't know if you remember him. He coached the Cavs 2 years ago. David Blatt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
He was the first Israeli to coach in the NBA. And before he coached in the NBA, he was coaching over here in Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel. And he said, hey, what do you think about coming over here to play pro ball? I said, man, that would be more than a dream come true.
Right.
So he's like, I'm going to fly from Israel. We're going to meet in New York for a tryout. So all the young players, I'll tell you what happened in that tryout. Okay, this was really important that I'll always remember, and I tell it to young players. He's like, dribble the ball from baseline to baseline with your right hand. Back, up and back. Boom. He times it. He's like, okay, now do it with your left hand. Boom. He times it, dribbling. And then he says, do it without a ball, up and back. Boom. He times it. I was faster dribbling with my left hand because I worked so hard on my game than I was with my right hand or than I was without a ball in my hand. And that was one of the things that made me sign a 3-year contract with probably the best team in Europe right then and there, basically. So, you know, they tell you the drills and they tell you to work on your offhand and stuff. It's going to pay off for you one day.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How was the league? Did you have success? How'd it go?
Yeah, so I played 7 years. I got to live out my dream. I played 7 years professional basketball, but I basically blew my knee out after the first year and I signed a contract every year, but I was really in therapy and rehab and surgery. But it's not a negative because I never quit. That's what I'm more proud of than everything in my whole career is that, like, I never quit. I came back from 3 career-ending injuries. And then by 2003, 3 times they told me I was never going to be able to come back. And I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And then 2009, I just got hurt again in practice so badly. This guy shot, he missed it. I was going to go put a putback dunk and put it back. And I'm going up full speed. He came down full speed with his elbow, shattered all the bones in my left hand. But I love the game so much. By this point, my knees are shot. I already had to get my right hand finger surgically put back in. Now I busted up my left hand. Coach is like, you good? I'm like, oh, of course. I get up. They passed me the ball on a fast break, and the ball just dropped through my hand. I couldn't even catch a basketball anymore. And that's what I went down to the locker room. I called my wife, and this is exactly what I said. I said, God doesn't want me to play basketball anymore. And I was okay with it because I never quit early. So I got to live out my dream. They told me it was going to be impossible. I played college and I played professionally. So I'm thankful, very thankful.
And see, that's big. And when I say that's big, because you was able to finish on your terms, and maybe not exactly how you wanted it, but you felt comfortable. You felt full enough that, you know what, I'm good. Enough is enough. A lot of us players, it didn't end the way we wanted it to end, and that caused us different problems along the way. But we're getting that into another conversation. However, let's talk about it now. You done playing ball. You did 7 years. You had your dream. You meet your wife.
Yeah, man.
And you had some kids. First of all, I'm gonna tell the missus I said hello, and thank you for thank you for letting you have this interview.
Yeah.
Is it far as you say you have 2 boys, 3 girls?
Yes.
Do they like basketball? Sports?
I have one son that is very serious, loves the game. It's all about the love of the game. You know, that's what it boils down to. How much do you love the game? So I have one son that loves the game. The girls are really into gymnastics. 2 of the girls are really into gymnastics. And my oldest one, she's in Israel. It's a little different. Like when you're 18, everybody has to go to the army here. Okay. So like when we're thinking in America, like where am I going to college? These kids are like, where am I going to be in the army? And so she's really focused academically and focused on getting a big position in the army. Because here, if you have a big position in the army, that's like a great career here. So she's unbelievable. And she's really focused on her life skills. So we're really proud of her. Been blessed with the most amazing 5 kids. And my wife had the same story as me. She had a Division I scholarship, but they wanted her to compete on the Sabbath. And she chose God over athletics. And when she told me that, we basically got married that night.
When the last time you been home?
It's been too long, 2 years now. But hopefully, when this ends and everything, I want to bring my son. I want him to meet some of the coaches. I want him to play there a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen.
Yes, if he come back home to see the love that you'll get here. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the love that you get here. I wonder, do your kids really know do they know that their father was touted the Jewish? Did they know that, you know what I'm saying? They
hear things like when I drop them off and stuff at school, but we don't really talk it like that at home. We just keep everything as normal as possible. Don't have any basketball pictures here or anything, memorabilia, nothing. Just keep it a nice, try to be a good father for them. That's it. And a good husband to my wife. But what's happening now in general in Israeli basketball is very good for my son and the young kids here, because Denny, Israeli player, was picked by the Wizards, 9th player. Mm-hmm. So that, to them, all the kids here, man, that's like a big breakthrough for them, and their dreams, and coming from such a small country, saying, wow, he was a 9th pick of the draft. It's got them really excited.
But that wasn't the first. He wasn't the first Israel basketball player.
He's the first one was Omri Caspi. Mm-hmm. The second Gal Mecca, but he's the first one that was a top 10 pick. Okay. So that
in itself. But Caspi was good. He can shoot. I don't know if he's still he can shoot. 6'9". He's a very
dear friend of mine. He's a dear friend of mine. Done a lot of camps and stuff together. He's back over here playing now, but he played in the NBA for 10 years, and that's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
That's amazing. Now listen to me. We about to end off, and I'm gonna let you know. I'm creating a high school show. It'll start, I say, in another 2 weeks. I said end of December, and it's gonna be on every Thursday at 12. I know our schedules is different, but if you ever want to join the show, we jump on early. I record it and I put it on, because the show will be like 12 or 1 o'clock. So you always have a platform right here on Taz TV. You need anything, I like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's a blessing even talking to you.
Yes.
I'm gonna post some more of your stuff. I'm gonna post some more information. And is there anything you like to tell the people before we get off?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you and bless you and your family. And I want to bless, I live next to the Holy Wall. We're walking distance from the Holy Wall in Jerusalem.
Wow.
So I want to bless everybody in Baltimore and just letting them know that I really love you guys, each and every one of you. And I hope that God watches over you and your families and gives you unlimited blessings and smiles. And know that I'm forever grateful for you, because if I would have grown up anywhere else, I don't think I would have been able to live out my dream. You guys embraced me from day one, even though I looked differently and my schedule was a little different. You never told me that was going to get in the way of my dreams, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I love you guys, so thank you.
Thank you. Coming live from TED TV.